You're listening to The Voice of Your Neighbor on FPAC Channel 9. I'm Susan Kessel, station manager, and we're doing a special show here today at the McElhinney House with guest Mary Pettit, who is vice president of the foundation, McElhinney House Foundation.
That's correct.
Right.
And Evelyn Meyers, who is the current president of the Women's Club.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Hi.
I got it right. Okay. The McElhinney House has been in existence for a long time. We had a show that you hopefully saw prior to this one, where Elaine Bush, who is president of the foundation, gave a wonderful talk about the history of the McElhinney House, the McElhinney family, and how they came to be in Fairfield. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot of things in that presentation. So that brings us to the present. The Women's Club runs the McElhinney House. Is that correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm. It is our home.
It's your home.
It is our home.
And the Women's Club is a group of women. How many women are there members?
Right now, 125.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you have monthly meetings, and
we have different kind of department meetings. We have bridge meets here, and literature and
health,
music.
Health department, music department.
Sounds like something
we used to have
for
crafts
everyone.
and a gardening department, and that has gone by the wayside. But we're trying to get the gardening department started again.
I think
There's
there is
enough
interest in that.
We're trying to get interest.
I know you were, Susan. 3 or 4 years ago, we talked about this, and then we just didn't get it off the ground. There just didn't seem to be enough interest at the time to get it started. But maybe one of these days.
Right.
We have 3 people with you now that are interested in getting it started.
Yeah, small department, if it starts with 3.
So if you're interested in that, you can let someone know.
Let me know.
As times change and women's jobs change and what they're involved in, I'm sure you have to evolve too and keep current with the day.
It's a club mostly, Susan, of older women. It used to be a younger group and an older group, and the younger group have gone by the wayside, and so it's an older group of women now.
Well, I think the young organization, I remember when I first came to town, being a part of that. But at that time, most of us weren't working.
Right.
And now, young women have their children to take care of and a job.
Right.
And it pretty well eliminates an afternoon or an evening meeting, one more thing they have to do. So it's been difficult. But I think the Women's Club itself, we actually have a variety of ages. And while many of them have been members for years and years and years, but and some are able to do more than others.
Now, if someone is interested in joining the Women's Club, what should they do?
They're very welcome. We would love to have them. All they have to do is call somebody that's on the committees, and we will invite them to a meeting and extend the invitation at the meeting, and they're welcome to join that day.
And that's at any time throughout the year they could join.
Anytime.
Okay. Anytime. There's no deadline. And we have wonderful monthly meetings and
Programs.
good lunches and good programs and just a nice time together.
I know that I used to be a little more active several years ago, but I think it's a great way to get to know people, and if you're new in town, that's another opportunity to meet people.
It's a nice cross-section of ladies that you don't see in your normal walk, perhaps, of life. Different. They've had different careers, and maybe some of them are still involved in careers. So, a good cross-section of Fairfield.
We had a lady from Van Buren County join our group last time. So it isn't just limited to Jefferson County. There are other counties. I don't know whether she's the only one or not, but we do have somebody from Van Buren County.
Now, your big project or task is maintaining the McElhinney House.
Yes.
That's the big headache. Actually, if you think about the problems at home maintaining a house, and then you think about a 150-year-old house this size, and there's something that we need to do most of the time. But we've done I think, a really fine job of keeping up with a lot of those small repairs and some major ones too. And so between the foundation's input and the hard work that Women Club members do on our money-raising projects, we've really done I think, admirably well.
I think you have too. Now, the foundation was, I believe you said, established in 1969, and it's been around and at times more active than others. And right now, you've got some good leadership, Lane Bush, and
Got a good board.
a good board. And you have received a grant from the Greater Jefferson County Foundation
Yes,
in
and
the
it was
past.
wonderful. We received that. I applied for it last year, and then that money had to be used up by the end of June. So,
Which probably wasn't hard.
no, but you know, we had to have estimates on everything we were going to do, and they asked for a real accounting, both before you get the grant and then where you've spent the money. And I think that's wonderful that they do, that
It
they
is.
follow that money and know that it's being well spent.
Yes, they do a wonderful job in our community of helping out where it's needed.
Yes,
And
they certainly do. So we're hoping now that the McElhinney Foundation can pick up some speed, because we really are revitalized, and Lane Bush is going to be a tremendous leader.
I think so.
And we have some men in the group now that are active enough to climb up on a roof or do some of these things.
That's always
that are
nice.
A little difficult in high heels.
Right, that's always nice. Now, the use of the McElhinney House, we should touch on that. I know that different organizations use the house for meetings.
That's correct.
Kiwanis, I know, meets, is it every Wednesday?
Yes, we
For
do.
dinner?
Every Wednesday evening.
And you have a resident that lives upstairs.
Cater.
Caterer.
We have a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Haynes, and his responsibility is, as she puts it, exterior. Hers is interior. But there's so much furniture moving that goes on too for the events that we have here. So Skeeter gets a lot of time moving tables and moving chairs, and when we have our public meals, there really is furniture moving. We bring those huge tables in this room, and everything is just totally turned around. So it's really a two-couple job, and this might be a good time for us to say that their present plans include retiring as of next July.
And I know they've been here quite a while.
Yes,
I think this is 7th year, going on their
like
8th, isn't it?
something like that, at least that long.
At least.
And so we are going to be definitely looking
Uh-huh.
for replacements.
Okay, so keep that
And
in
we have-
mind.
It's quite a large apartment upstairs. The entire north side is an apartment for them.
Which we will tour the McElhinney House, but we won't go upstairs. But there is an apartment up there, and then also a very large room for storage.
Yes,
It's
above
directly
the
above
parlor,
this
the
room.
room for storage, and for style shows we use it for dressing, for changing. And storage our Christmas trees and all of our seasonal materials that are necessary. We put up there, so that gives us some good space.
Uh-huh. Now, what other organizations or clubs use the McElhinney House?
Retired teachers, Delta Kappa Gamma. I think the Lionels have come back, I believe. And we have numerous bridge clubs that meet here. And they come-
AAUW or BPW? I know I've taped here.
I
Not
think
one of
so.
those.
Well, okay, maybe they are
I think
now.
they do. I think that was on that list of
Okay.
people that had paid last time.
And then
Should have brought more material.
we're available, of course, for wedding receptions and large parties and birthday celebrations. And
Which this is such a beautiful house.
yes,
What a beautiful setting to have something like that
yes, it
in.
has lots of possibilities for entertaining large groups. And
Yes, I think it could be used even more. And the other day when I was taping Lane, I didn't realize that when you eat here, part of your meal fee goes towards the house.
$2 of the $6 goes toward the maintenance of the house.
$1.50.
A dollar and a half? Oh, I thought it was. I
So-
said $2
No,
the other
it's
day.
$1.50
Okay,
goes
I'm
to
sorry.
for maintenance of the house, and we charge $6 for a meal, and that includes everything, beverage, and there's no tipping required. It's hard to go out and get a full meal for that
No,
anyplace else.
and have this
And-
atmosphere.
That's right.
So-
And $1.50 of that money though goes to the house maintenance.
So that's another way of supporting. Maybe some of you aren't aware of that, or the opportunity to use
Yes.
the space.
You can use the space even though you're not a member of the Women's Club. Any
Okay.
organization can use the space. Rent
Okay.
it.
Let's stop the camera and we'll take a tour, and then we'll talk some more about your projects that you have coming up.
Okay, fine.
Now we are in the south side room of the McElhinney House, which is a very large room, and it has been redecorated.
Yes.
It's called the Parlor.
Parlor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we redecorated this past spring,
Okay.
and it was a major project, really. But thanks to the Jefferson County Foundation, we were able to afford to do this, and so Mary Stewart did our work for us, and she's very, very meticulous about what she does. And we peeled off the old wallpaper and thinking that the walls were in good shape, but that revealed that there were many, many, many cracks. And she filled cracks, and in fact, some of them were filled 5 times because the next day they would open up again.
Well, with a house 150 years old,
Yes.
but I think you've done a wonderful job in choosing the wallpaper, and the border is beautiful, very easy to live with, and I would think would go well from one age to the next.
Yes.
And not be too
Yes.
limited.
That was the thing that we wanted, was wallpaper, of course, that reflected the Victorian period.
Uh-huh.
And then the woodwork was equally damaged, of course. You know, there were nicks and scratches that also had to be filled. So she did what we think is just a beautiful job of making it look like new.
Yes.
It's turned out.
It's very
to everyone's
nice.
delight.
We
Now-
were not going to replace the carpet nor the drapes, so we chose to use those two
And it
things.
all goes well
And the
together.
furniture itself.
There's always that challenge when you're trying to mix new and old, of making it all come together, but it does. Now, I noticed the ceiling, boy, what do you call those things? Those round things in the ceiling where
There's a name for
a
that.
molding, I can't think of it, but that's something that's been repaired, or
Just painted.
It was cleaned, but we did not paint the ceiling.
We didn't?
The
I
ceiling
thought we
was in
did.
pretty good
Oh, I
shape.
thought that-
No, we really did not. But I think that they are beautiful, and
they
certainly
are. So
enhance
is that original part of
and
the
add.
house?
I have no idea when they were put in. I don't know.
It's very beautiful.
But they've been here, and it would appear as if they were built in the way the ceiling is, carved around them. I think
Right.
that they have been here for ages.
Now, this room has a piano in it for meetings that you need a piano.
That was donated by Mrs. Lutes.
Mary Lutes.
Mary Lutes.
Okay.
She's deceased now, as you know, but she was a past president.
And a
In fact,
librarian.
not too many years before she died, she was up in years when she was president of the Women's Club, and she was a great musician.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, she was a wonderful musician. Used to play for shows when we did Lions Club shows and Women's Club style shows out at the high school years ago, and she was always at the piano.
Uh-huh.
And we
And
have
so-
that insured for $10,000.
It was donated to us,
pretty.
and
Very
we're very, very
valuable.
proud of that. And
That's a
we're
nice
fortunate
piece to
have it,
have,
of course.
yes.
Mhm.
Now, this room, I know you can have fairly large groups. You set up the chairs.
Yes, this
And-
is set up now for a meeting. I'm not sure what it is this time, but PEO chapters oftentimes meet in here.
Uh-huh.
Other groups that have a business meeting, we have a podium over there.
And while we have our cameraman focusing over here, we'll move along. And I can't help but notice this fireplace. This has got to be original also.
Yes, it is. And that we repainted meticulously, you can see. And it turned out, I think, just beautifully.
It is.
And the picture, the painting over it too. Now that is important to us because it was a gift from Dixie Johnson in memory of her sister,
Minerva.
Minerva. So we're
And-
very pleased with
And
that.
it's new.
And that's
Just-
new.
And that's a part of
print.
the redoing. Yes.
And you do have, I believe, some Schreiner pictures, which Schreiner was a Fairfield artist number of years ago. I can't remember the date, but he's a famous Fairfield artist, and his famous piece hangs at the library with the horse in the blacksmith shop.
Yes, I think he does.
And then I know you also have some Wendell Moores and several Wendell Moores. And
Well, something
This is
we
amazing.
should look at this north wall because it has a long time, we had two pictures. I don't know just how this had happened, but they were out of balance, and that's all, the two on the left. And so this year also, we bought the one then on the right, you coordinated, and tried to pick up the water theme to tie in and still give us a little bit of color in that.
Now, this is funny. I remember the middle one is by Sherry Susich, and when I was just out of high school and doing a show in Bentonsport, that's either Bentonsport or Bonaparte, and I sat up next to this lady, and she won
It's
the prize that year, and
it really is beautiful.
so I remember when that one was done.
And this one we paid for out of the memorial fund. We do have a memorial fund within the Women's Club, so that sometimes people will give money in memory of a loved one who's been a member of Women's Club, and that helps us out too. So
Now, is there anything in this room that needs to be done? Besides the drapes and carpet eventually?
Not
eventually,
now.
but really not now. We had the sofa gave it a little boost a year ago by having a new cushion put in. So actually, we're in pretty good shape, and we bought all new folding chairs within the last 4 years.
They're very
We have bought
soft and
chairs
comfortable.
for both rooms. And that was a major expenditure, and that was paid for out of Women's Club money. But the chairs were just absolutely terrible, weren't they? They were so old wooden backs on them, and some of them were breaking down about every week. Our hostess would carry out another broken chair. We got chairs for both rooms, and we're really happy to have them.
Oh, they look nice.
And those in there look a little more, in the dining room, look a little more like a dining room chair. These look like, just what they are, a folding chair for meetings that can be easily stacked up and put away.
Now, I noticed some air conditioning in the windows, so it is air conditioned in the summer.
Yes.
We have, is it 9 windows air conditioners?
Wow.
I think there's 3 upstairs in the upstairs apartment. There's
Well, we have
two in here.
and 2 or 3 in the other room, and some in the kitchen.
One in the kitchen.
I think there's 9 altogether.
I imagine it takes a lot.
We had to replace one of them this summer.
That was a major project when we started buying air conditioning for these 2 large rooms. Because for years, there wasn't air conditioning in this building at all. And you
Didn't
can
do that
imagine
back
in the summertime.
In the last 2 months,
No.
we have bought an air conditioning and a new motor for the dishwasher, which was $996, the 2 together, which was the money that we got from Walmart that we used for that, for our quilt project.
So that's another thing. Let's stop and we'll move into the dining room. Now, you mentioned that Kiwanis Club does meet here once a week, and they have their own special corner.
Yes. They've been faithful members every Wednesday night for a long, long time. And so, because we're very happy to have them. So they are able to put up their plaques and signs and their awards and officers and so on back in their own little corner.
So it's kind of their home, too.
Yes. And you just... sometimes she plans special menus for them. I know something she thinks they'll like. And so
Now, we were talking about things that need to be done, and probably the major portion is outside, the roof.
Yes and no, because this carpet in this dining room will have to be replaced, and it's just a matter of time. It isn't very old, but unfortunately the quality was disappointing. And we've had it stretched 3 or 4 times. And the last time it was stretched, the man said, "This can't be stretched again. It's got to go the next time." So we have to save money to replace this, and it's unfortunate. We're going to have to next time put in a different kind of carpeting. It's just not able to handle the traffic.
In a public place, I imagine, with the constant traffic, it does stretch, and then you have problems.
We've been sorry about this because it was a nice color coordination when it was done a few years ago, but it's just not going to hold up for us. Of course, we're lucky to have another piano in here too, so we have music in this room for our meetings or for programs, whatever.
Mary, do you know anything about the silver service?
Well, that silver tea service was given to us once upon a time, and I'm sorry I can't tell you by whom. But
And is that available for use by Women's Club?
Yes, only Women's Club.
Only Women's Club.
Yes, that's written also into our bylaws and our rules that the silver service can only be used here in this building by Women's Club.
Okay.
So we keep it pretty, it's quite valuable actually.
I'm sure. It's a very nice addition. And then while we're looking in this room, we can look at the redecorating that has been done here, the wallpaper.
This was decorated probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was wallpapered. At the same time, this carpet was put in. Possibly 7 now, I don't know. Time flies. I remember it was on the committee.
It's a constant job.
And they did a nice job of this too. I think the wallpaper is very attractive, and you can see.
And you've got several large tables here. This is for eating, or do they play bridge in here, or do they sit out in the other room?
When we play bridge in both rooms.
Both.
And sometimes there are 2 or 3 clubs here at the same time.
Oh.
So then it gets to be a busy place. But when we have our public lunches, our one in November or our one in the spring, at least one of these, and sometimes 2 of these tables are put in the parlor.
Okay.
So you can imagine what a task that is. At least it would be for me to take these apart and to get them moved in there.
Yes.
We had the Washington County Country Club ladies bridge department this summer, and they ended up with Fairfield group and Walton group and the country club here in Fairfield. I think there was 41 or 42 people, ladies, came to play bridge with us. That's the first for us for that.
And we can seat about, between the 2 rooms, we can seat about 98
quite
we
a
can
few.
seat for a sit-down meal, which isn't bad at all. You know, it's
No,
we think that's
in a
pretty
home
good
type
number.
atmosphere. I know several years ago when I have to organize an art event, an area art event, I had them come here and eat lunch, and
Yes, I
they
remember
really
that.
liked it. We just walked
I remember that.
from the art center to here, and it was very convenient, and everyone loved it.
Yes.
We'd like to have you come back again.
So I'm sure there are more groups out there that hadn't thought of it. They should take advantage
But
of
we'd
it.
love to have you come. And we've had these tables refinished too, these round tables, because of course they're very, very old. And so they have been refinished, well, within the last 4 or 5 years also.
This one was redone within the last year.
And that's, you know, that's an expensive project
That's a
when you
walnut
start
one.
Yes.
having someone refinish a table such as these.
And again here in this room we have some more artwork, and I think we have some James Wilson's,
Yes.
another Fairfield artist. That's nice to
Used to
have.
be my next door neighbor, as a matter of fact.
Well, really?
On Highland, you bet he did.
Okay.
You know, he was a wonderful person, and he, in his backyard was a window well. You know, an old well there, they'd put a wooden platform over it. So when my son Larry was growing up, all those little kids were invited to his house in the morning, and he would teach them art out there. They were doing, it was a chalk. They'd sit around the window well, and everybody would draw a picture.
Oh, what
And then
a
it was
nice-
funny because when his wife was to come home from work, he'd shoo him and say, "Quick, it's about time for her to come for lunch. Go."
That's
But
a
I still
nice
have some of
story.
those.
That's a nice
I
story.
still have some of those things that Larry did when he was 4, 5, 6 years old.
Under the instruction of a
He
very
was
good
wonderful
artist.
with children.
Oh, that's a nice thing to know that I'm sure a lot of people hadn't heard that one before.
Oh, he was a great man. He really was.
And he went to Chicago and became quite well known, and from what I understand.
Yes, he did. He came from Chicago. In fact, I think at one time he'd been in a bakery.
Yes, I think
As
in
I remember
Fairfield,
it.
yes.
And Mrs. Wilson worked at Gimbel's Jewelry Store for years.
Okay, so a little bit of history for you along with our tour.
And she was a very nice lady, but when she was coming home, it was time for the kids to go.
Right.
Shoo.
Oh, now, the other day listening to Lane talk, he was talking about the roof in the future is going to need replaced, repaired, reshingled.
Yes.
And did he mention the boiler or the furnace?
The furnace.
It's going to have to be replaced.
It's very, very old, and you know, right now it's functioning. And we've been really lucky with Skeeter Haynes because he can do almost anything, electrically or plumbing or whatever. And he and some of his friends literally did lift the furnace up. It was sitting down in such a position that water was forming around the base of it a few years ago. And they literally did lift it up. And he has, in fact, installed upstairs in their apartment. We have bought, and he has installed a whole new bathroom, all the fixtures.
Well, that's nice to have. Hopefully you'll get someone else that will be able to do some of this.
And so he does, our plumbing repairs. We're really fortunate if we have to start hiring a plumber one of these days.
Right, right.
It's going to be different.
Well, we'll make our cameraman stop again and we'll move into the kitchen.
Part of our project this year has been installing 2 new stoves and 2 new, what do you call them?
Ranges?
Yeah, no, the hoods.
The hoods.
Two new hoods. And that's been a very costly project too, because there's a lot of cooking that goes on in this room. And of course I mentioned the new motor in our dishwasher, and I thought it might be cheaper to get a new dishwasher, and to kind of find out they're between $3,000 and $5,000, the type that we have in here. So it wasn't cheaper to buy a new dishwasher.
And also the plumbing on the fixtures on the...
All new plumbing we've been put in on both. The state has different rules to that, so we had to come up with state level as far as the rules.
Something we might comment on too was our health, or our inspection by the food inspectors. We get 100% as a general rule, almost always. And the last time she came, we got a 98% because someone had left the door to the bathroom down the hall ajar.
Oh boy.
They took off 2 points.
But that's okay. We don't need to get 100%.
I know, right. They probably just did that because they couldn't stand you getting 100 all the time.
But Rita keeps a very, very clean kitchen.
It
The food
is.
we serve here is definitely clean.
This is a wonderful kitchen.
And she is a good cook.
And she does all the cooking.
Yes. All by herself, actually. A lot that you maybe might do a little
Right.
thing to help, but fundamentally she isn't. She's very fast.
And you mentioned that the dishes, the service, belongs to the Women's Club.
In recent, the last meeting now, we had Rita prepare us 12 different menus to be used. We haven't decided on how long those can
So
be
those
used.
are menus that when you're having something, you select.
You can select from those menus what you would like. And then there's also a list of meats and vegetables and desserts that you can, if you don't want everything that's on this menu, you can select from that. Which some people would like to do. But the menus that she chose were like turkey and dressing and cream chicken and beef and noodles and chicken and noodles and ham balls, and the only one that we didn't select was Polish sausage and sauerkraut, and we did veto that one. But
That'd be good this time of year, but maybe
outside
not
of that,
all
we
year.
selected 11 of the 12, which I thought was very good.
Okay. Well, that's probably enough of the kitchen. We'll go back in the hall, maybe. We're in the foyer where you enter, and it's a wonderful entrance with this grand staircase. And you said that it has been repaired because it was a little wobbly.
Yes.
It's very sturdy now.
It's very, very sturdy now, and we were so grateful to the men members of the foundation who came up with a way to firm this up, because it really did shake as you walked down the steps, and we were afraid someone might fall. But the men have just been wonderful on the foundation board. And this staircase was given in memory of Marjorie McElhinney Gray. So she was a member of the family someplace along the line, obviously. And so it was a gift, but it is a beautiful, beautifully carved staircase.
It is.
And then on the wall, here are pictures of the McElhinney family. Now this is Elizabeth herself, and I'm not very familiar with just exactly how that family ran. But this one is another Mary Schaefer McElhinney. And then we held out one gentleman to be hung here. And he is, I believe, Robert McElhinney. So that's, a touch of history here, and of the family that made all this possible for us. And we're very grateful, of course. I think Fairfield is so lucky. You hear other towns having the Women's Club meets in the hotel downtown or someplace, and we're just so fortunate
to have this wonderful home.
Have this home of our own.
which I believe what Lane said the other day was $10,000 was given by Elizabeth McElhinney
Yes.
to the Women's Club to find a home.
Yes.
And you're not sure if she specified this home or not, but how appropriate
Yes.
that
So
was.
we're just really, really very lucky.
Now,
This might be a good time to move to into those paintings that we have
Okay.
in the McElhinney House. Would that be a good transition?
Sure. We'll walk in here. Now, while we're going here, also a project that you have coming up is the landscaping outside.
Yes. Yes. And we started on this about 3 years ago now it would be, and asked Oakwood to come over and look at it because nothing had been done outside. They would just let nature take its course. So we divided this up into 4 sections, thinking financially we never could swing it all. And the first one, we did the south side because that was the worst condition of anything. So we got that paid for, and then we worked along this wall a little bit outside. And we planted 3, I believe it was, trees outside. And one of those is on the far side, but we wanted them all to grow at the same time. So we still have parts 3 and 4 that we haven't touched. And the third part is the front entranceway. And then the 4th is the entire north side.
Okay. So take it in
Of
steps.
course, we put more flowers in here, so this was the most expensive one really to do.
And I see some beautiful pink roses out there.
And Mary's real good at trimming them too.
Oh, so you have to do that also.
Well,
She has been.
sometimes it takes a little urging to get those things all done.
Right. And directly behind our cameraman, we're going to make him swing around here. There's a lovely photo of the McElhinney House. Is there some significance in that photo?
I don't know, Evelyn. Do you know the history on that particular
No,
one?
I don't.
I don't know, but I do think it's a lovely picture for us to have.
Yes.
Okay, we see we have 3 photos along this wall of the McElhinney.
The center one is the one that I referred to, Susan. That was you said M and J.
P. Buckley Moss, and I believe through M and J of Ottumwa. Now that is the McElhinney House.
Yes, that's the McElhinney House
Okay.
with her little people in front of it.
And she put that, the round building behind it, which sort of distracts from the McElhinney.
And that was the barn that round barn that's painted someplace in the county or something.
I've seen that one.
It's not part of it.
Right.
She combined those, with her approach to it.
Right. Some area pieces. And then, of course, we have the Wendell Moore serograph.
Yes.
And I remember when he did this, he did a series through the Art Association, and that was one of them.
This was one of them too, wasn't it?
Then over
And
on
this,
this wall, yes.
the Fairfield Square, the bandstand by...
This was given in honor of Mr. and Mrs. Fred Johnson by Dixie and Minerva.
Okay, and this is an original
Other
watercolor by Wendell Moore. Well, let's talk about some of the projects that you have coming up to keep the Women's Club, the McElhinney House going, and fundraisers.
Well, I think as far as the House Committee, which I'm on, one of the things that we have to be really concerned about is getting money together to recarpet this north room. That is something we know we have to do. And then, of course, if something pops up, it seems like, figuratively speaking, every other week or so we have something breaks down and it has to be replaced.
Right,
that we
just
don't
like
know
at
about.
home.
But inside, I think that is our biggest project right now, that and then upstairs. Because now, as the Hayneses move out, we did, as Evelyn said earlier, we did do the bedroom, which was it's a massive room off on the northeast corner, and that part had been most seriously damaged by the fire a number of years ago.
Okay.
And the repairs apparently were not done perhaps as well as they might have been. But
They are now, Susan.
absolutely
They're
huge,
done perfect now,
huge
the
cracks.
repairs.
It's just unreal, the cracks in the walls and in the ceiling. So that's been done. And that was paid for by the Jefferson County Foundation funds.
Okay.
We had almost enough to do this and that room.
Right.
And then we still then have all the rest of that apartment.
Okay.
Except the bathroom. The bathroom has been all new fixtures.
Well, yes, the fixtures are in and paid for. We paid for those out of our own treasury.
Okay.
But we've got a lot of wall work to do.
We've got a living room and a kitchen up there. And besides the staircase going up their apartment, another room.
Two rooms. I don't know it's what you want to call the rooms, but there are two large rooms plus a very small kitchen plus that terrible staircase that goes straight down.
Which still shows fire damage. So here it still has fire damage.
And so to work on raising the money, you do have some projects coming up.
Yes, we do.
And the community is invited to participate, and by their participation, this will help raise the money.
We have a trash and treasure sale the 22nd and 23rd of October, and we've asked for all of our members to bring things to that. Not only trash and treasures, we would like food. We're starting at Friday evening on the 22nd at 4 o'clock and going till 9 o'clock that night.
And that will be here at the McElhinney House.
That will be here at the McElhinney House. And the next day we start at 8 o'clock and go till noon. And anything that's left over afternoon, the foundation, Lane Bush and Frank Bagby are going to take what we have left to the bargain box. The next project is election. The very next week, I think, after that.
Busy time.
And it'll be soup and pie luncheon, and we're selling tickets for that.
And you've done that for many years.
Yes, that's a tradition.
So when you're out there voting, you can stop by and have lunch.
The lunch will be $4. Then our next project will be the pilgrimage, and we have 6 houses on the pilgrimage this year.
And this is one of your major big fundraisers.
An annual affair.
And it's always, I believe, the first weekend in December.
Yes, I think it's the 5th this year.
Okay. And that's when the community is invited to visit homes that have given their permission to a tour as they're all decorated for the holidays.
And also to come here.
And to come here.
Yes. You want to talk about what they're going to do here, because I think that's going to be exciting.
Nan Cameron is going to be in charge of the decorating here at the McElhinney House. Charlotte Lamb's going to assist her, and Nell Egley are going
What a group.
And
those three, when they get together.
It's called Collections.
Selections from Collections. I know where Nan got that. That's we used to have an art show called that.
That is the name
right.
of it. And it's going to be, it's not going to be just like collections. It's going to be very beautiful collections, the very finest linens and cut glass and something really superior in collections. So they're going to take about 10 to 12 different ladies here in town and use their collections, but they're going to be very selective. So if you're picked for one of those collections, you'll know that you have a very beautiful collection.
Right. So that'll be a chance for you to visit here along with the tour.
And we'll have a food sale.
A food sale that day.
And we'll have a tea table.
Tea table with goodies.
And our tea table is going to be served by survivors of breast cancer.
Oh, how nice.
Marilyn Tyatt is in charge of that, and she's one of the survivors. And Jackie Popejoy and Dixie is the survivor of breast cancer. There's about 6 different ladies. This is new to Mary. She didn't I come up with this idea because we do have 4 different members of our
group that's a nice idea
that have had cancer this year, and they will be serving and doing the nice things to go with the tea table.
Now, we might get ourselves into trouble by saying this, but do you think we can remember all the homes that will be on the pilgrimage?
But I'm trying to stay out of the pilgrimage.
Okay, you worked too hard on that before.
I'm not sure that I can name them all, but I will try.
I know a few of
Fred
them.
Hickenbottom is one.
Dick and Mary Reed.
And Pashas.
Right, which Dick Reed, I believe, built their home.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And Bilderback.
Bilderback.
Bilderback
Pam
is one of them.
and Bilderback.
And another one is the...
Fred and Shelley Grotzen.
Yes, that's one I couldn't think of.
Yes.
And theirs is the
Stepachaveda designed home, which should very interesting. Shelley is a wonderful artist. I can't say how wonderful she is. She does portraits. And I'm sure that it's a very beautiful home.
And another one will be the Southgate condominiums will be
Okay.
built by then, and we will have the new condominium, and also with that will be a small apartment in the front. If
Okay.
it isn't rented at that time, it'll make 7 with a small apartment, but it'll just be one stop for the 2.
Okay.
So
I think we remembered them all.
I think
if
we did.
not, we're
Well, you
sorry. You'll
remembered
hear
some that
later.
I didn't. But we were very pleased to get the homes, and they were
Yes.
just, everyone was really delightful. I was surprised, that we were so well received.
Usually we're screaming for
Uh-huh.
help.
Yes.
And I had the 1st of September, I had all of them.
She had
That's great. Well, obviously, they're being very generous in offering their home, and the money raised from that will go to the McElhinney House.
That's correct.
And we hope that everyone will come out that day. So that's the pilgrimage, the trash and treasures, the election day. You
And the
have
quilt.
you have a quilt project where you've bought a beautiful quilt.
Yes.
And we won't mention that it's being raffled. So those,
And the cooperation of Walmart in
okay.
connection with that.
Okay.
We really appreciate. Yes.
We
So-
wondered about going and asking, doing the same project again. And Walmart said, "Oh, we want you. Please come and ask us again."
That's nice.
So-
They're being so community-minded.
So it's nice to be really, welcomed by Walmart into the town. It was wonderful.
Something else we should mention, another new member of the foundation board is Melva Dahl.
Okay.
And Melva has been doing a fantastic job of publicity for us. And
She organized
she
this.
organized this, as a matter of fact, and it was through her efforts that the Courier came down and was here for a program and did a wonderful story, and the Ledger did a wonderful
Right.
story. So Melva is a real jewel.
And she is a member
And,
of our board. She's
a member of the
uh-huh.
foundation board and a member of the
Foundation board,
Women's
and
Club.
she's
so
a new member of the Women's Club too. And she's very
so
active
we're
in
just
that.
delighted.
We're just more than delighted. She's really.
She's actually over there in the corner and hiding out, but she's going to make sure we're doing our job here.
Yes,
So-
it's been invaluable
Thank you,
to us
Barry, for
already.
remembering that. I almost forgot that.
So you have lots of things going on throughout the year, lots of activities to support the McElhinney House, which is a home that's 150 years old here, your home, and we hope that the public will respond in participating, and I'm sure that you accept gifts.
We're in the process of
You're tax deductible, the foundation.
Yes, definitely.
So that you can make contributions towards that.
We're in the process of, thanks to Melva, of sending out letters to the groups that are meeting here, thanking them for that, and then and sending out letters to groups that inviting them to become a part of this and call this their home. So we're hoping to get some additional business from this.
Well, I think you will. It's looking beautiful, and it's a beautiful spot, and there's always the opportunity to take advantage of having a meeting here.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
And,
call the host, call the house, and have Rita check the calendar and get on the calendar. We'd be delighted
Okay.
to have.
Susan,
Have
we
you join
certainly
us?
appreciate you coming to visit us and
Well,
seeing our
I'm
home.
happy to do that.
We're really pleased.
Thank you,
you.
Evelyn Meyers and Mary Pettit.
Well,
Thank you.
so much, Susan.